Christmas is white. Hi, and welcome to heaven. This is Raquel and
Julia Kibelda.
And today we have a special bonus holiday episode. Woo!
Yes.
Yeah, so after like that very heavy episode we had, we just, lighten it up, have some fun, enjoy the Christmas spirit, even though it's already after Christmas, but it doesn't matter. We're still up here for the New Year's. So, yeah. Julia, what do you think of Christmas season? How has it been for you this long?
Usually I'm quite sad during Christmas because it always happens that I'm single in the time and I always see those cute couples doing Christmassy things and going to markets, and then I rewatch Love Actually for like the 50th time in my life and I'm like, where is my love story, and I'm always sad. But this year I'm not really. I'm just happy to like spend time with my friends and do nice Christmassy things with them or by myself, and I'm really excited to see my family. And I think all of my single girl era is really kicking off this holiday season. And I have my beautiful Christmas tree and we had our lovely Christmas dinner. So, I can't complain.
Good. It's actually quite funny because I never really connected Christmas to like a romantic thing.
Really? For me it's always been that. Like I feel like it's always the time that I feel like most depressed about being single.
Damn.
Like summer I'm like, yeah, great, hot girl summer, and then in the winter I'm like, I just want someone to cuddle with and hold hands with. And I always see those couples like buying Christmas gifts, and I feel like because I associate this time with so much like love and affection, and you get like all the movies and hallmark movies and all of that stupid shit. It's very like couple oriented, I think, all of like the marketing surrounding it. So I feel like I've always felt that way, maybe because it's also so close to New Year's and stuff like that. It just always makes me associated with that.
I really think it's a very like American thing because I never really associated that much with romantic love and coupling and all that stuff, because I always feel much more with family.
Okay.
And I actually, as growing up, I never saw that many Christmas movies, like those staples.
Yeah.
Like last year, I saw With You Love Actually for the very first time. And it's like one of the big staples of like Christmas movies.
That's crazy to me. Like I grew up on romantic comedies. Like I think I've seen like Love Actually when I was 6 for the first time. So it was ingrained in my brain from the very beginning. Like my love for Hugh Grant and British men stems from that. So I feel like
that's why she's in London.
Exactly. So I feel like, for me it's always been that. I don't know why, like I can't really pinpoint it. Maybe because I've never also had like a big family holiday. It was just like me and like my closest family.
For me it's always been like, it's the main thing about Christmas is gathering all the family. Eating is like the main thing to do with Christmas for me.
Yeah, exactly. For me it's never been that. It's always been just me and my parents and sometimes my grandma, and like we always had a dinner and then watched Christmas movies. So literally like it's never been that big of a family thing. Like obviously now it is a bit more because I come home on purpose to spend Christmas with my parents, but it's never been like a very big event in our house. So it's kind of like just a time to like chill and do stuff together, but not really. And so I feel like maybe I've kind of like tried to like fill the gap with that in a sense. Like I still do love Christmas, but I feel like I feel particularly lonely in that time usually for some reason.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Because even the films that would pass on our TV, so, not our films, it's chosen by the TV and what rights they buy, it would always be films like, Home Alone and Santa Claus, just, again, way more family-oriented. So, growing up, I just never really connected to romantics until, like, maybe 2 years ago.
Are like very romantic. There is even like this very popular like Polish movie franchise, which is like Letters to M, which is like letters to Santa basically, because Santa in Polish starts with like M.
How do you say?
Mikołaj. But it's also
that makes sense.
Like
it's like similar to Nikolai.
Yeah, it's also like a male name at the same time.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it's kind of like a very similar premise like Love Actually, so it's like a lot of small stories and stuff. And it's also like mainly like love stories of different kind. So I don't know. Like all the movies that I associate with Christmas are very love oriented rather than family oriented.
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Maybe because I'm like a hopeless romantic as well, but it just,
Yeah.
All I want for Christmas is you. It's the vibe. So
yeah, like with that, like what are some of your like favorite Christmas movies? 'Cause I feel like they're like the biggest staple in Christmas besides
Love Actually is my top one movie ever. And I love it. And a lot of people hate on it, which I found out quite late in my life, and I don't really get why. Like, obviously it's not a realistic movie, but it's very sweet and heartwarming.
It's not supposed to be anyway.
I just don't get why people try to make romantic comedies like super realistic. I think it's a very beautiful movie, and it shows different types of affection and love and relationships, even though shows like a glimpse, a very fleeting fragment of those relationships. And I think that's what kind of makes it really nice. I do like The Holiday a lot. I think it's a cute film as well.
Yeah, I also watched it for the first time this year myself. Like, I'm really not into like the Christmas
You're so
movies.
behind. You really need to catch up.
I really need to catch up, I know.
Even my dad knows more romantic movies than you do. Like, he's been educated by
Is that supposed to be an offense?
Yes.
Joking.
Sorry. Anyway, so that, and then yeah, the Polish movies are quite good. I really like those. And then Grinch. It's a cute movie.
You like Grinch?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like Grinch.
But I've only watched it like 1 or 2 times.
I never watch it and I don't like it.
That's not a valid opinion.
Of course it is. I don't like him as a character, so that's why I'm not gonna go watch it.
But you didn't watch the film, so how would you know?
Because he disturbs me.
Just watch the cartoon version of it.
That also disturbs me. I just don't like Grinch as an entity.
Oh, I don't like Home Alone.
Oh, I'm not crazy about Home Alone, but I think it's cute.
Okay.
What I like more about Home Alone is that me, when I was watching it as a kid, I was like, I could also go to New York. To a hotel.
To a hotel.
Yeah. So Home Alone never got slaves. But I have to say, like, I watched this year The Holiday, and I really, really enjoyed it actually.
See, there you go.
But I think what I enjoyed about it, not only it's obviously kind of like Love Actually, but like less. It has like two plots happening at once. But I kind of really like that the love stories, maybe more the ISIS one than the Cameron Diaz character. I think is Amanda, right?
Yeah.
I kind of like how both their love stories are also very tied in with coming of age and self-discovery and like
like character development.
Yeah. So it's not just about like finding the love of your life in a way, but it's more like
finding yourself.
Finding yourself, because they initially, switch houses to like get over breakups or like other like past loves, and I think that's like very cool.
I mean, like, it's a film written by a woman for women, and you can kind of...
Oh, is it?
Yeah, and you can kind of clearly see it, because even like the two love interests, you have like, I've seen a lot of people saying, like, Jude Law is like the girl you want, but the other guy is like the man you need in your life. And it is kind of true that like both of them appeal to like different types of women in a sense, and both of them are very lovable characters, even they're so different. Like, one is super like stereotypically charming and hot, and the other one is like this funny goofy guy who's like a great friend, and that's how he wins her over. And I feel like it kind of shows that it was written by a woman. It's very transparent in that. But yeah, Christmas movies are like a breed of their own, and I've had my fair share of those. I think the weirdest film I've seen is A Very Corgi Christmas.
That sounds absolutely wonderful.
It's a Hallmark film centered about this kid wanting to get a corgi, and then his mom, who's obviously single, is trying to get the corgi, but then she's trying to hide him, so she asks this guy to like help her, and that's how their love story develops. And it's just the most...
It's not everything you would like for your
life.
I know,
and it's just like the most ridiculous thing ever, and I don't really remember it because I was quite distracted in the middle of the movie by some things that I will not mention. But it was really funny, and it was during my corgi obsession phase, and that's why I watched it.
Sounds amazing. Yeah.
But it's Hallmark movies are fun.
True. I think I've seen, like, I barely remember, but I think I've seen like 1 or 2 Hallmark movies, but it's that kind of thing, like you watch one, you literally watch them all. So they're all kind of around the same. But we actually saw this very interesting thread the other day about like a reverse plot for a Hallmark movie.
Oh yeah.
So it would be like, a girl from a small town realizes that her boyfriend is shit and moves to the city and becomes a successful like businesswoman, blah blah blah. And I thought that was very funny, and I would love to see a film, because there's nothing that upsets me more than this trope of like the successful woman
Giving up her dreams.
Yeah, giving up her career and go from like a city like New York and back to a small town to a past love from like, I don't know, primary school or whatever. It is a fantasy, like, but I don't really like the basis of that.
No, it's like you're kind of going backwards and diminishing all of your progress for like a random guy who's stuck in the past.
True. Even like there's like this film called Home Sweet Alabama, I think that's how it's called.
That sounds bad from this time.
It's with Reese Witherspoon, and it's the same concept. She's like a successful woman, goes back. I might be completely wrong, but I think it was about she comes back home because she's still married to her like teenage love, and to marry like someone else in the city she just needs to probably get a divorce. And I was like, it's so toxic that he never like let her have a divorce in the first place, and then in the end you end up like, oh yeah, that last love comes back, like the
oh yeah, so he just wins her back by being toxic. How fun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember the movie, I might be wrong which is one, but this plotline actually happened.
Yeah,
in that vein, like, what do you think would be like your reverse Hallmark plot? Hallmark movie plot.
So I think she's moved abroad, she's a successful...
That's you.
Literally, me. It will basically be based about my life, because I am the main character.
Yeah, this is what this question is about.
She would be like super successful, working in the city and probably marketing, something like that. Or a law firm. Like, she's slaying, she's having the time of her life, she's enjoying her single lifestyle. And then perhaps this guy from her past that is from a little town is coming to the big city, and because he needs to do something, for example, he actually has to save his company, he's trying to find investors for his company, and it's this kind of guy that never found her attractive at school, she was always this like girl in the back.
I'm already casting it in my own head.
She was never the it girl, she was never the cool girl, but then she kind of found herself in her adult life and she became really cool, and now everyone wants her. And so this guy who she obviously remembers very clearly from school, because he was always like the popular funny guy, but he kind of stayed back home, ran his father's business, and now is struggling to keep it back afloat. He comes to the city and he's like, I need help, I'm trying to hire this law firm that she works in. And they go into a meeting, I see this scene, like they're in the meeting room, he walks in and she immediately is like, this is Jeff from school. And then he's like, who is this feisty girl? Like, I don't know her, she's kind of hot. So she doesn't tell him who she is, She's like keeping it cool. She's like, okay,
I feel like I've seen this before.
I know. She's like, Jeff, this is what you need to do to save your company. Like, you basically fucked it up. Like, your father fucked it up. This is my expertise. I did this with like 20 other companies. This is what you need to do. And then at some point she just like, he's like, oh yeah, maybe we can discuss this over a drink or whatever. And she's like, no, Jeff, we will not, because you did this and that in primary school. And she calls him out, and then he's like, Annabelle, is that you? I just completely made these names up, by the way, but I don't know, I feel like Jeff kind of fits.
With Annabelle.
Yeah, whatever.
Annabelle?
And then he realizes that this was her, and then he kind of starts having regrets about how he treated her at school, and he realizes that she was really great all along. And then he tries to win her back, but she's like, no, I'm slaying in my life, I don't need a man.
Yeah.
I don't really need this guy, I've moved on. And in the end, I feel like maybe they sleep together, maybe they even do that, maybe she's like, yeah, cool, but I feel like in the end of that Hallmark movie, they don't actually get together. I feel like the result of the movie is that she's like, you know what, I've moved on with my life, and Jeff didn't.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm better off doing my own thing and moving forward instead of moving backward.
Very well, very well. Okay, like that.
And the title would be Christmas in the City.
Very original. Hallmark title right there.
I know.
Well, mine would be similar in the sense of I was thinking of like a girl who had a crush on this guy in like her small town, and it was like he always gave signs but never like any fully like communication of like if he was interested in her or not, even though she thought it was. She is me. And and
this is loosely based on personal events.
yeah, I mean it's like our reversed Hallmark story.
Yes.
And then he would never give like he would give signs but not fully like if he was actually interested in her.
Yeah, just teasing, but not really. Then picking the other girls that were more popular because he felt a bit ashamed that he may have liked her.
It's like a situationship but teenage version.
Yeah.
But then she would like, you know, move on to the city, and she'll move abroad, so like from high school to like university, and she moved out to a big city abroad. And she starts building her life, starts building her career, she becomes successful, and this guy kind of comes back to her life by like texting, because like, you know, replies to like a random Instagram story, I'm like, wow, like look at this, blah blah, or like are you in London? And
are you in New York?
What? I have not seen your like views of and likes of my stories all this time. They comes back to your life, and you know, the girl is like, oh, that crush never fully went away because it never got a proper closure. So she in herself feels a bit like, she still feels this kind of validation to give. Oh, I still would like to know what actually he feels about it, or in a way she also still feels needs to prove her kind of worth to him just because it never got a proper closure.
Yeah.
And then there's a time that he actually comes to London, and then like they meet and stuff. And then like she basically starts seeing some red flags, like what he was is not what he is, in terms of like she obviously idealized him a lot, blah blah. He starts getting interested in her just because now she's cool and successful, like she has a cool life in London, and you know, has money, and you know, probably like had a bit of a glow up, because from teenage to adulthood, I guess you become like prettier because you're just more confident in yourself.
Yeah, of course.
So that obviously seems more attractive. Yada 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 yada. And I think I would like for towards the end is like she kind of has these like uncertainties, but then she decides that like her self-worth is better, and she should not give validation to this guy who never cared about her all the time, and not just because she looks better in like a lot of quotation marks that he now is giving attention. Now like she's worth of attention, and she's like, no, I don't want you never wanted me, and now I don't want you, so go back to your small town. You are the one who is not worth my time.
Yes.
And I would actually like to finish like they don't go back together. I mean, they never work together, but like they don't go together. But what I would like is to finalize in this shot of this other guy that she meets, and he obviously always has like an interest in her, and it's like almost it ends with a new beginning. So it's like she was always like kind of held back by this guy back in her small town, even thinking,
like the guy from the past.
Yeah, even like, you know, having the same fantasies of Hallmark movies of one day going back, showing off how good she was, and get this attention again. But I would like to, obviously she rejected him, and like finish up in another note that she's a new woman, she's a new self, and this new man would appreciate everything about her with none of those like, you know, preconceptions, and would finish off with like a possible new love story and a new love chapter for her life.
Nice. I like
but
that.
It's not really about like, oh, she still gets the man in the end. No, it's really about like allowing yourself to fall in love with someone else that it actually might be better.
Cool.
There you go.
Very, very feminist Hallmark movies.
Of course.
I like that.
We would love to see them.
Yes.
Let us know if you have like any like other ideas for a reverse Hallmark movie. I guess that should be it. I hope you all enjoyed your Christmas, because it's already passed, and keep up the spirit until New Year's. So yeah, I guess we'll see you in next year.
For a 2023 recap.
Yes, hopefully, if we do it on time.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Bye.